Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here and welcome to a new season of my show. Let's talk about The Simpsons. It's quite possibly the biggest cartoon series on the planet. If you've never heard of it before, then clearly you've been hiding under a rock all this time. It's touching, hilarious and really inventive. I will admit that a lot of the new episodes are highly flawed though, yeah. They come across as obnoxious or self-indulgent, plus they seem to be desperately clinging on to popular culture. It's like they're screaming, please make us relevant! We're still hip! We're still cool! It's embarrassing. It's like watching your uncle trying to be part of the youth culture. Despite this, I am still obsessed with the show. I have the first 14 seasons on DVD and I've listened to the commentaries on all the episodes of these DVDs. If you name a character, I can most likely tell you who does the voice for that character. I have Simpsons trivia coming out of my ears. And if you describe a Simpsons episode to me, I can most likely tell you the name of that episode. My point being, I'm a super fan. Which is why reviewing the Simpsons movie is going to be a personal process for me.
The Simpsons movie is an American comedy adventure based on the cult TV show The Simpsons. It follows the Simpson family, which includes Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie in their big screen debut. What's the story? Well, Springfield Lake is so polluted now that it's becoming dangerous, so the city decides to clean it up and barricade it. However, Homer gets rid of his pet pig's waste by dumping it into the lake, which makes it toxic. The government are alerted and decide to cover Springfield up with a glass dome. This angers the townspeople, who team up to start a mob and threaten to hang the entire family for Homer's incompetence. So, the Simpsons escape the dome through a sinkhole and move to Alaska. Meanwhile, the government decide to blow up Springfield. The family want to go save Springfield, but Homer has different plans, which lead him on a spiritual journey full of soul-searching. Will the Simpsons be able to stop the bomb and save their town? And will Homer find a reason to return to Springfield? Now, before I begin this episode, I must make it clear that I am reviewing The Simpsons movie, not the original TV show. I am basing all my opinions on what the movie has to offer as an original title and a separate entity. When I first saw this movie many years ago at the cinema, I felt satisfied and entertained. Then, over the years, I have met people who said that they were disappointed by this feature. I began to speculate why these folk felt so unhappy with the Simpsons movie. Was I missing something? So, I watched this movie again from a reviewer's point of view and began to realise why people felt so dissatisfied with it. My conclusion? Well, the Simpsons movie doesn't feel like a movie. Many have complained that this film is like an extra long episode of The Simpsons, and I can see why now. A lot of the movie seems more like the antics of a regular Simpsons episode, rather than a feature-length tale. Sure, it has fancy animation, wild visuals, and an epic music score, but it doesn't feel cinematic enough. Guys, you're not making a Simpsons episode. You're moving into another medium that has different and higher expectations. You have to step things up a notch. This movie's choice of running time doesn't come across as justified, because the story seems like a stretched out half-an-hour narrative with extra filler. Of course, some people may argue that the charm of this movie is its simplicity. It's not trying to be something grand and epic. No, it clearly is attempting to be a huge movie. Expectation has been built up at the start, when Grandpa prophesied some terrible things. Just observe this scene. Listen to the ominous music, Grandpa's dramatic choice of words, the theatrical direction, and the tension of his warning.
Let it out!
Horrible, horrible things are going to happen! And they're going to happen to you, and you, and you, and you! Oh, Nelly! People of Springfield, heed this warning! Twisted tail, 1,000 eyes, trapped forever!
Man, do something!
This book doesn't have any answers. Beware! Beware! Time is short! Ipa! 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 Believe me! Believe me!
A scene like this creates startling imagery in the audience's mind, visions of apocalyptic fantasy and horror. However, what do we get? A generic bad guy's plan to put a glass dome over Springfield.
When you think about it, the dome in this movie is a bit silly. I mean, it's not exactly impossible to dig underneath the dome. It has landed on soft soil. So all the people of Springfield need to do is grab some shovels and start digging. Simple as. Now, some may argue, hang on, Jambareeqi, isn't everyone in Springfield stupid? No, not everyone, okay? Someone like Professor Frink or Lisa Simpson should have had the intelligence to think, hang on, get some shovels, start digging. Now, a later episode of The Simpsons did make a joke about this, but that doesn't change anything. That's just the writer's silly apology for their bad writing. This flaw not only makes the intelligent characters of Springfield seem out of character and stupid, but it also makes the dome itself come across as ridiculously underwhelming.
Apparently, so I've been told, there are stories that have covered the glass dome idea and effectively scared the readers. But the way that the Simpsons movie handles this premise fails because there's a noticeable flaw in the way that it's told. Yes, a bomb is later lowered into Springfield in the finale, which may be more scary than the dome, but it still doesn't live up to the intensity of Grandpa's prophecy. The thing that bothers me the most about this movie is that it's way too hard on Homer. What do I mean by this? Well, after the Simpsons move to Alaska, the family decide to return to Springfield to save the townspeople. Homer refuses to go back with them, which is apparently self-centered and inconsiderate. I don't think so. The people of Springfield tried to hang Homer's entire family and refused to take his apology. Why should Homer forgive and save Springfield when they threatened to hang his children and wife, plus denied his chance to say sorry? Sure, Homer endangered Springfield. That was a bad thing. But how the mob reacted makes it very difficult to justify a reason for Homer to feel bad to this extent. The mob are just as guilty as Homer. They are not innocent saints in all of this, and Homer has every right to refuse to save them, considering what they threatened to do. The film barely illustrates what makes the people of Springfield so loving, caring, and not only worth rescuing, but also worth forgiving. Sure, Ned Flanders acts as a thoughtful father figure to Bart and tries to rescue the Simpsons, but Ned Bloody Flanders isn't the entire population of Springfield. His actions don't make up for the mob's behaviour. Same goes to Colin. He's a nice guy, but he doesn't represent every townsperson. I just don't believe that Homer should feel obliged to go save the people who tried to kill his family. However, I will not deny that the Simpsons movie is still really, really, really funny. There's political humour, wacky slapstick, witty one-liners, and amusing running gags. Nearly every scene offers something that made me laugh out loud, whether it was Homer's buffoonery or a sharp bit of satire. However, not all of the jokes work because they seem contrived, forced, or stale. I mean, some of the gags simply aren't funny enough. And I will admit that Spider-Pig lost its charm after we heard it in the trailer 40 times a day on TV. I think it's clear that the writers of this movie were more interested in the film's comedy than its main story.